Welcome back to the Open Wheel Offline League. You've got to be kidding me. Welcome back to the Open Wheel Offline League Season 4, Race number 10. Halfway into the season at this point, and qualifying is about to begin. Round 1. Let's take a look at your entries. So, you've got all three Viking racing cars once again find themselves in the same group. Not quite sure how that keeps happening, but it does seem to be a reoccurring thing, so they're gonna have to avoid trying to step on each other. Um, you've got Miles Rowe, David Malukas, Robbie Lohr, Gail Barnhart, Shane Van Gisbergen, Lindsey Brewer, Jacob Abel, Ethan Martz, Glubler Lohr, and then your three Viking racing cars of Connor Zilic, Guy Gagne, and Brennan Hubbard. Guy Gagne, of which I will take a quick. Never mind, he is not out on track. A lot of cars taking a good while to get started. Already 2 minutes into the session. So Ethan Martz is the first one going out. The only driver to be below 100 points at this time, as four cars basically just came out on top of each other. And I don't know why you would wait until that moment, but they are going to be in trouble. Basically have to rely that the car in front of the group does not hold them back. So basically all these drivers are going to have to bank on Miles Rowe being quick enough for them to advance. But they're already stacking up behind him, so this may already cause some issues. Ethan Martz on his first lap for Skibidi Sigma Racing. Although it was a chaotic race, he once again found himself in 23rd at the end of the race. Just a lot of incidents. As there's another car added to the line, Guy Gagne, who is in a new colored car, yellow and black, sponsored by Jegs. We're going to have to get used to seeing him in those colors now, as these guys are really stacking up behind Miles Rowe. As there goes David Malukas up the inside. A lot of cars sporting some new sponsors, but Guy Gagne the only one with new colors, as this is ridiculous. Ethan Martz now coming around the carousel and down onto the front stretch, 104.48. That is the time to beat so far. Gail Barnhart, pink in the third sector, pink in the fourth sector, and he's going to go 2 seconds faster. So Gail Barnhart currently in, as these guys all on top of each other, Malukas, Van Gisbergen, Zilic, and Rowe fill out 2 through 5. Glubler is on a fast lap right now with pink in the second and third sector, so he is currently cooking something as he comes to the line. This is going to go P1, 101.9. Last race winner, Lindsey Brewer, in a bit of a shock. Had a lot of speed in that car and was able to hold off Callum Ilott in the closing laps. She is going to go P3 right now, as Brendan Hubbard, who also had a very good race, looked like he was going to challenge for the win. He's going to go third. Ethan Martz currently down in 9th, but is tracking faster. Gail Barnhart not so much, as Mart's going to go to 4th, so good improvement for him. Gail Barnhart doesn't seem to be improving, maybe just a little bit. No, he is not fast enough. Guy Gagne to the line, he's going to go 5th, Malukas 3rd, as Van Gisbergen still at the bottom, as he is actually off track all by himself. And if he's not able to get back going soon, he may be in for some issues, as Gail Barnhart and Connor Zilic have spun. Streets of Detroit have brought chaos with them, as Van Gisbergen is still not able to go, as the track is not clear. He's going to have to hope that he can get going before they despawn him. But that may be his second lap gone. Lindsey Brewer down in 8th, currently not advancing. Hubbard in 4th. Van Gisbergen gonna try and go back to work. Ethan Mart's not going faster, so he went 3 laps. Jacob Abel, he's going to come to the line his first lap, going to put him P3, looking good so far. Guy Gagne, pink in the 3rd sector, see what he has. And I think this is P1, he's going to go P1. David Malukas will go 3rd. As Robbie Lord, last one to set a time. Here he comes. Only P8. Pink in the 4th sector, but not enough. Connor Zilish, he spun, so he's trying to get back going as there's a lot of spins happening in the keyhole, which is the 2nd turn, almost 180-degree turn. There's a lot of issues down there, and there's a lot of issues everywhere. I'm seeing so many cars off track as Lindsey Brewer is going to go 4th, trying to back up how she did. As Brennan Hubbard not going to go anywhere. Ethan Mart's coming into pit lane as Jacob Abel now coming to the line. This is going to go, I believe, P2. Yes, so 101.8. Miles Rowe not going faster. He's going to come in. Guy Gagne, I think, had an issue. A lot of guys having some issues, and that could set up for another interesting starting grid. Robbie Lord to the line, only P8, so not a lot of speed in that 30 car. We have a very upside down starting grid right now. At least, this is just one round. We still have 2 more rounds to go. Lindsey Brewer through the hurry downs. Thunder Valley. Now into the carousel, a long right-hander as she was going to come into pit lane. Jacob Abel, he's not going to make it to the line. Does not go faster. Brennan Hubbard just below the cut line right now. Needs a little bit more speed. Right now the 30 of Robbie Lord looking like he's cooking something. 2 more turns to go. Currently below the cutoff by just 0.07, as that is not faster. As Jacob Abel is off. You would have think it's raining. A lot of cars on outlaps, notably Shane Van Gisbergen, not one of them. With just a minute left, he is not going to get out in time. So I think Shane Van Gisbergen is going to start from 23rd. He sits 2nd in the championship. Jacob Abel now into the hurry downs and into the carousel. He's going to come in this time. So, does look like he'll advance, because I don't think there's anyone who's going to be able to make it back to the... Well, I think Malukas is going to be able to, but he's in 4th. So I think your top 6 right now is how it's going to be. Unless a 30 can knock someone out, but he went off earlier in the lap, and he's going to come in this time. So basically up to David Malukas. Now Miles Rowe and Ethan Mart's technically on laps, but not going fast, as Malukas has gone off track, so forget about that. Miles Rowe, just not enough speed. And he's not going to be able to advance. Ethan Mart's last car, currently down in 10th. There's not enough in it. So that is it from Group A. We're about to go on to Group B, but your 6 cars advancing. led by the newly painted Guy Gagné, as he takes first place. Second, Jacob Abel with a pretty good qualifying effort. Third place, Glubler, he's going to advance. David Malukas is going to advance. And then Lindsey Brewer, last race winner, is going to advance. And Gail Barnhart will be the final car to move on. So your 6 eliminated, and where they will start, going to be starting 13th will be Brendan Hubbard in the 99. 15th will be Robbie Lauren. He has been stuck in that 8th row for the last 3 races. Miles Rowe starting all the way down in 17th. Ethan March down in 20th. Sorry, he's going to actually be in 19th, I believe. 21st will be Connor Zilich. Another disappointing qualifying effort from him, and very disappointing for basically your pole master, most poles ever. Shane Van Gisbergen will be starting from the last row. So we'll be back in just a second for Group B, Round 1. We are back for Round 1, Group B. Take a look at your entries for this round. Points leader Louis Foster. Right now, this could be a big opportunity for him with his main championship rival so far starting all the way down in the last row. Callum Ilott finished second last week. He's going to be in this group as well. Chet Jordan, Yuki Tsunoda, Benjamin Peterson, Marcus Armstrong, Mahavir Raghunathan, last pole winner Ryan Preece, Stingray Robb, Alessio Deletta, Dorian Pin, and Catherine Legg. As the first car is already out, and it's the 11, as let's go on board for a lap at Mid-Ohio. Big dive down into this turn 5. If you miss this turn, you're going to be going for a ride. As just a lot of elevation change could catch someone off guard through this section. Down. Oh, and he's going to go around. So that's already going to be a first lap voided for Louis Foster. as Chet Jordan will join him and they will make contact, and they still continue to make contact. That could give some damage to these guys, and they may not be able to go back out, as Chet Jordan has got himself stuck on the curb. Either that or he's waiting for Stingray Rob to pass, but Chet Jordan may have to get a tow, which may end his qualifying efforts on his first lap. He's still not moving. You can see him on the track map. The Stingray Rob going to be the first one to have a valid lap if he can get around. Taking it nice and easy. Whoa. There's a bit of a slide there. Ryan Preece has a pink second and third sector. Stingray Rob's first lap going to put him P1, 101.8. As here comes Ryan Preece. Has looked very good in qualifying before, 101.2. Going to go to the top. Alessio Deletta did not set a time in qualifying last week. Wants to have a good one this week, 108.89. 101.89, I should say. Mahavir Raghunathan finds himself off track, almost kind of in the way of Marcus Armstrong. He's not going to be too happy about that. 102.7. As Stingray Rob is on his second lap now. Louis Foster spun again, so this big opportunity for the 11 might be going away. As Ryan Preece spun down in the keyhole and he had to get a tow. Stingray Rob not going to go faster. Louis Foster, this lap's not going to count. As actually, yes, it does, but it's a 120.5. Alessio Deletta looking faster, as he's going to go 101.5 and go P2. Marcus Armstrong looking faster. Qualified well at Detroit, but wrecked out early as Foster has gotten stuck once again. 102.3 as Raghunathan's going to go 6th and Peterson 5th. Dorian Pinn right now looking fast. Did not advance to round 2 at Detroit. Down the hill into the line. 101.396, that's going to knock out Raghunathan. Stingray Rob does not go faster. Yuki Tsunoda has been qualifying well recently. See if he has anything. This is going to be a 101.7. That's going to knock out Benjamin Peterson. Alessio Deletta to the line, does not go faster. Louis Foster still out there, but that is another... This could be another big disappointment for him. Mahavir Raghunathan really holding up Benjamin Peterson and Callum Ilott right now. Ilott currently out. Ilott's going to go to 8th, but right now, as it stands, he won't advance. As Chet Jordan going to go to the top with a 100.7. And that is going to knock out his teammate Marcus Armstrong, as Catherine Legg will go 5th, pushing out Stingray Rob. Marcus Armstrong, he spun earlier, so he's not going faster. Dorian Pinn also had an issue not going faster. Yuki Tsunoda currently on the cut line. Needs to find a bit more pace out of it. Not faster, just a tick slower. Louis Foster, I believe, is coming in this time, which is a shame because that was his best lap up to this point. Mahavir Raghunathan trying to go faster. Right now, Callum Ilott in a bit of frustration as he is currently stuck behind slower cars, but That's a good part of it, is being careful where you exit to go onto the track and not getting stuck in traffic. Yuki Tsunoda might be going quicker. Right now it's looking good. Second sector, maybe not as good, but the first two, no, this won't be quick enough. Kalamai on his fastest lap so far. 2 green sectors. But we don't know about that middle. Benjamin Peterson spun somewhere. That could have impeded him just a bit. But this looks like it might be good enough. It goes to 101.5. That's going to push out Tsunoda. So Tsunoda currently out. Ryan Preece is around. Benjamin Peterson had an off-track moment. Tsunoda, I don't think he's going to be able to make it all the way back. He's going to need to come in this time. Louis Foster should really be leaving the pits by now if he wants to have a chance to go back out again. Right now it's looking like a massive disappointment for, I think, the whole top 3, maybe even 4 in points aren't advancing. Yeah, right now Catherine Legg is the best placed car that is advancing in the points. Stingray Rob trying to go faster, currently down. He's only going to get 1 lap, so this lap has to be clean. Ryan Preece looking safe. Has already spun it on this lap. Foster does go back out, but unfortunately it's too late. Raghunathan will get to the line, so he's going to have 1 more in him. Stingray Rob looking faster in the second sector, so there might be enough there. Raghunathan not going fast in the first sector. Rob right now looking solid. But that third sector wasn't quite enough to the line. And I think it's good. 101.5. That is going to knock out Catherine Legg by 2 thousandths of a second. Right now, Mahavir Raghunathan down in 11th. He is the last car that will be able to get to the line. Gonna have to see if he can then bump out Stingray, who just got in, but I don't think it's there. Yeah, he was not fast enough. So that is it for round 1. Advancing out of this group, leading the charge, Chet Jordan. First one to go into the 1 minutes. Ryan Preece, when he could stay on the track, finishes second. Dorian Pin, the only Swindlers of the Immortals car to make it into round 2. Alessio Deletta was in 4th. Callum Ilott will advance in 5th. And then Stingray Rob will be the last one to advance, just barely, knocking out the 07 of Catherine Legg. So I think your whole top 5, it may go down all the way down to 7th in points, which is Ryan Preece, are eliminated in this first round. So Catherine Legg will start in 14th. Yuki Tsunoda will start down in 16th. Marcus Armstrong starting down in 18th, far removed from his last 2 qualifying efforts. Benjamin Peterson, the only Banshees of Low Miami car to not advance, he'll be in 20th. Mahavir Raghunathan in 22nd. And your points leader will round out the field in 24th. Now, isn't that a story? Could not keep it on the track to save his life, as we'll be back in just a moment for round 2. Oh, that's lovely. With the timing breaks. Um, we are now into round two. Your drivers at advanced: Callum Ilott, Chet Jordan, David Malukas, Gail Barnhart, Lindsey Brewer, Ryan Priest, Jacob Abel, Stingray Robb, Alessio Daletta, Guy Gagne, Globler Lore, and Dorian Pinn. Now, naturally, since things like to break, we don't have the timing anymore, so we're just going to have to use VI Racing. As someone is out track, that is Gail Barnhart, first car out. Two of the Silly Men racing cars were able to advance. One that did not was Marcus Armstrong. He was eliminated at round one. He'll be starting back in 18th, which is the furthest back a Silly Men racing car has started since, I believe, Virginia. Actually, no, I think it goes further back than that. I think Chet Jordan back in Oregon qualifying 21st. But Gail Barnhart on his first lap. Take it nice and easy into the carousel. May have added a little bit extra grip, so maybe we won't be seeing as much sliding around. Into turn 5, and up the hill into 6. Now snaking through the S's. It's going to be the first one to set a lap. He's going to have the benchmark. Gonna have to see what everyone else can do. So Gail Barnhart, he'll come around the final turn and get to the line. 102.764. So not particularly fast compared to what we've seen previously. But that may be an effect of adding a little bit extra grip so the cars can stay on the track. Ryan Priest goes by, he'll start his lap. Callum Ilott now starting his lap. Globler. Everyone's just starting their lap. Gail Barnhart was just so far ahead. So Gail Barnhart basically has a lap on everyone so far. But right now, looking smooth. Through Thunder Valley and into the carousel. Gonna have to see if he can find a little bit more time. Right now, P1, as he is slower that time. Ryan Priest now on his first hot lap. See what he has. And it's faster, 102.483. So the time's a little bit slower due to adding grip. Callum Ilott gonna go P1, 102.1, as Chet Jordan now will start his attempt. Globler with a 105.5, not sure how that happened. Jacob Abel, 103.7. David Malukas, a 105.2. The time's not too quick right now. But Globler currently sits on the cutoff. 105.5 is the time to beat. Comes Alessio Daletta to start his lap. Gail Barnhart, third lap. Is it faster? It's faster than his last one, but not an overall improvement. He'll stay P3. Ryan Priest now on his second lap. See if it's faster. It is. He's going to go P1, 101.7. He's still keeping the time down. Stingray Robb now to the line. 106.2. Guy Gagne not far behind it. Chet Jordan going to go P4. Glubler, he's going to go faster, but will stay P6. Dorian Pin now P3. That's going to knock out Glubler and put Chet Jordan on the line. Malukas not in currently. He is down in 7th. Needs about half a second. Lindsey Brewer down in 11th right now. Alessio Deletta last one to set a lap. Barnhart going to come into pit lane. Hopefully that's enough for him. He sits P4. Alessio Deletta to the line. Unfortunately, that's 12th right now. A very wide spread between the times that we didn't see earlier. Ryan Preece. Not fast enough. Stingray Robb. Really stacking up a group of cars here. Currently down in 10th, needs more pace. As Chet Jordan goes P4, that's going to keep him above. Glubler is going to improve, but it's not enough. Jacob Abel currently on the cut. He needed to find more time, but didn't. David Malukas finds time, but still finds himself below the cut line. He sits in 8th. The Brewer now to the line. Faster, but still a ways off. Alessio Deletta currently down in last, needs to find more pace. Hasn't finished in the top 10 at all this season. Faster, and that's going to put him 11th, but still pretty far off. Stingray Robb once again leading his gaggle of cars. He needs to find a lot of time if he wants to advance. As Callum Ilott gonna pull off Stingray Robb now to the line. It's better, but not enough, and Guy Gagné will jump him to take P9. Dorian Pin still looking good. As Lindsey Brewer still out there. Needs to find basically 3 seconds. Not sure where gonna be able to pull that out of. Goes faster, but doesn't make a difference. Alessio Deletta down in 11th. Needs to find about 2.5 seconds. Actually, no, he needs to find about 3 as well. That's a pretty big close-in, but still, that is way far off of where he needs to be. A second ahead of his teammate. Stingray Robb, I assume, is coming in this time. Chet Jordan, I believe maybe starting his next... No, he's coming in this time. Is there anyone out there? Dorian Pin on her final lap, I'd assume. Not faster, gonna stay P3. Lindsey Brewer might be coming in this time. Yes, she will. Alessio Deletta may also be coming in this time. Or is there just a little bit more in there? No, he is coming in. Gale Barnhart gonna go back out. He's gonna get one more lap. But right now it's looking pretty good. But just for a little extra security. Dorian Pin gonna be coming into pit lane this time, so I believe Barnhart may be your only one who's getting a lap here. That's the added benefit of going out super early. Yeah, Preece isn't getting there in time. So Barnhart basically just cruising around, gonna try and flex some muscle. But that is your top 6 that will be advancing. Right around with him in the cockpit. Oh, big oversteer. Even now it's still sliding around. The line, is it better? No, it is not. So he will stay P5, but luckily that is enough to advance. So your cars that make it into the Fast Six will be Ryan Preece leading the way, looking for 2 poles in a row. Calamilot, however, has some pace in it and might have something to say about it. Dorian Pin, I believe this may be her first time out qualifying both of her teammates, so gonna hope that she does well with that. Then 2 of the Silly Men racing cars, Chet Jordan and Gail Barnhart, make the Fast Six. And then Jacob Abel will return to the Fast Six. So go through the rest. In 7th place will be Glubler once again, just misses out. 8th will be David Malukas, seeming to be a common spot where he qualifies. 9th will be Guy Gagne. 10th will be Stingray Rob. And then row 6, 11th and 12th will be Alessio Deletta and Lindsey Brewer for the Banshees of Little Miami. So up next is the Fast Six. Gonna have to see who's got what it takes. On to the Fast Six. These are your 6 drivers that advanced: Callum Ilott, Chet Jordan, Gail Barnhart, Ryan Preece, Jacob Abel, and Dorian Pin. We've reduced the grip just a little bit to see if they'll go faster. We're going to have to see if they'll be able to keep it on the track, but could be pretty up in the air. 18 Aggressive Bees looking for their first pole. Dorian Pin looking for her first pole in a good while. Um, Gail Barnhart, Chet Jordan, both haven't had poles in a long time. Gail Barnhart all the way back since season 2. And just in general, it's been a while for Silly Men Racing. So far, nobody out on track. Everyone's going to get about 3 laps. Some maybe might be able to get a 4th, but not sure. Ryan Preece will be the first one to go out. Ryan Preece looking for, I believe, will be a 10th career pole, 5th of the season, which would be a very big amount. That would take the most for the season up to this point. but yet only has one win. Looking to find enough to be able to control from the lead. Gonna have a lot of hungry guys coming from the back of the field. This is another good chance for Ryan Preece to move up the championship order as through the final turn to the line to start his first lap. Callum Ilott leaving the pits, Jacob Abel is out, Chet Jordan is out, Gale Barnhart is out. So far, everyone having some good space. Dorian Pinn, the only car still in pit road. The Silly Men Racing cars may be a little too close together, but I think they may have just enough of a gap to help each other on the straights. Silly Men Racing, kind of the little team that could for a while, but has recently in these last few races, with some developments to the car, has put themselves near the front of the grid from drivers that were consistently 12th to 18th in qualifying. They're now looking pretty solid, consistently playing around the top 5 in Fast 6. 101.2 from Ryan Preece. Already looking quick. Callum Ilott will begin his lap now. Jacob Abel, Ryan Preece's teammate, made it to the Fast 6 only once before, but has a lot of qualifying efforts that have not gone to plan. Back end steps out just a little bit. This would be amazing for him if he could compete with his teammate. Top 10 in points. No spectacular results, but has been easily the most consistent driver this season. 104.1, that is not going to get it done. Dorian Pinn going to start her lap, so a little bit of space being provided. Chet Jordan to the line, 103.9, also not quite there, and a 104.0 from Gale Barnhart. So far, Ryan Preece in his own world. I do think Callum Ilott and Dorian Pinn are going to be right there with him. As to the line for Callum Ilott, 101.683, so not quite there. Jacob Abel looking very slow through these parts where you saw Ryan Preece whipping it through. A lot of caution being taken, but the 03 is right behind him, and that is interesting. Might be holding up the 03 just a little bit to possibly help teammate Ryan Preece. Jacob Abel going to come to the line. It is much slower, but Dorian Pinn just a little bit off Ryan Preece at a 101.4 as Chet Jordan is off track. Gale Barnhart going to come to the line, 103.3. He's going to move up to 4th as Ryan Preece now probably need to find a little bit more speed. Dorian Pinn breathing down his neck as a 110.2, so must have had an issue. Callum Ilott not quite there. As Dorian Pinn is being held up by Jacob Abel, a lot of drama late in this. But that 75 going very slow. Almost intentionally slow. Dorian Pinn needs to get by now to have one more lap at it. But Jacob Abel will continue to be just perfectly in the way to affect the 03. 105.3 for Jacob Abel and a 105.1 for Dorian Pinn. Gale Barnhart now coming around. 104.0 does not go faster. Ryan Preece must have had an issue. We're going to have to see if Callum Ilott can go faster. Through the final turn, is it enough? No, it is not. P3 is all he's got right now. I don't know if there's going to be another lap in it. Chet Jordan, not quite enough. Ryan Preece is in, but the heroics from Jacob Abel to be holding up Dorian Pin. It's dirty, but it looks like it's gonna work. Unless Jacob Abel has to come in here and Dorian Pin will have one more lap at it. Oh, that's a little sketchy, but we aren't going to be doing any impeding penalties. Race control for the Open Wheel Offline League, non-existent. Gail Barnhart will come in this time. Chet Jordan, I believe, will come in this time. So it basically, I think that may be it, unless there's a surprise extra lap in Chet Jordan or Dorian Pin. But that should be it. Yeah, Chet Jordan is done. Callum Ilott, I believe, will be done. Dorian Pin, I believe this will be the in lap. So there is going to be some frustration between the rival teams of Team Eggs and Swindlers of the Immortals over that 75 car. Dorian Pin, I believe she's going, yes, she will enter pit lane. So that is going to be pole number 5 on the season for Ryan Preece, as Dorian Pin will have to settle for second once again. So let's go through the starting grid for tomorrow's race. Row 1, Ryan Preece finds himself on pole for the second time in a row, but going to be lined up to a very frustrated Dorian Pin. Had enough space, but cannot help when a car is just going purposely slow. Row 2 going to be Callum Ilott in the 42 of Gail Barnhart, having his best qualifying effort of the season. Row 3 will be the 24 of Chet Jordan, and alongside him will be the 75 of Jacob Abel, who's going to be getting some dirty looks after this. Row 4, going to be the 00 of Globler Lord next to the 25 of David Malukas. As I meant to say row 4. Row 5 is the number 90 of Guy Gagne in new colors, alongside the 77 of Stingray Robb. Row 6 locked out by the Banshees of Little Miami, with Alessio Deletta and Lindsey Brewer. Row 7 will be the 99 of Brendan Hubbard, looking for another good run, alongside the 07 of Catherine Legg, who has finished 12th the last 2 races, so right in the middle of the field. Row 8, once again, is where we find third in the championship, Robbie Lohr. Be starting way further back than he wants, and fourth in the championship as well. Yuki Tsunoda will be next to him. Row 9 will be Tsunoda's teammate, Miles Rowe, going to be alongside the lone Sillyman racing car in the back of the field, Marcus Armstrong. Row 10 will be the 95 of Ethan Martz, and alongside him will be the 29 of Benjamin Peterson. As we go back to row 11, we'll find Connor Zilic deep in the field alongside the 54 of Mahavir Raghunathan. And then rounding out the field, two Swindlers of the Immortals cars that happen to be first and second in the championship, the 43 of Shane Van Gisbergen and the 11 of Louis Foster, who were consistently lining up the front row early on in the season, now struggling in qualifying. And that's going to be very interesting. A main thing that's been behind this season has been the lack of consistency from any of the drivers, and it may continue, and this may hurt Louis Foster if he cannot move forward in the race tomorrow. But that is it for qualifying. As mentioned, race tomorrow, It might be chaotic just like Detroit, so you want to tune in, and I will see you all then tomorrow.